Ever feel like your brain is working against you? You sit down to tackle an important project, but before you know it, hours have passed scrolling through social media. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Why does motivation disappear so easily? It all comes down to a brain chemical called dopamine. Now, most people think dopamine is just about pleasure, but in reality, it's more about desire and drive, the force that pushes us toward the things we want. It's not just about liking something, it's about wanting it. A famous experiment on rats explains this perfectly. Scientists stimulated the reward center in the rats' brains, causing a surge of dopamine. The rats were given a button that, when pressed, released more dopamine. What happened? They went crazy, pressing the button nonstop, so much so that they forgot to eat and drink. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When scientists removed their dopamine, the rats lost all motivation. They didn't even try to find food or water. Nothing mattered to them anymore. Now, let's connect this to us humans. Dopamine is one of the main reasons we get out of bed in the morning. It's the internal drive that keeps us moving forward. Ever wonder why checking your phone feels so effortless? Or why certain foods suddenly become irresistible? It's not just about the pleasure of doing those things, it's the anticipation of pleasure that releases dopamine. In fact, dopamine peaks the moment there's a possibility of a reward. This makes sense. But what happens when we constantly bombard ourselves with high dopamine activities like social media, video games, or binge watching shows? Could this actually be draining our motivation in the long run? Here's where things get tricky. Our brain craves balance, a state called homeostasis. If you flood your brain with high dopamine activities, it compensates by reducing dopamine receptors. What does that mean? It means you'll need even more stimulation to feel the same excitement. Just like building a tolerance to a drug, everyday tasks start to feel boring. Studying, working on a project, or even going for a walk no longer seem appealing because your brain has been conditioned to expect much higher levels of dopamine. Think about it. How many times have you reached for your phone without even thinking? Or found yourself watching random videos when you knew you had something important to do? These habits gradually rewire our brain and kill our motivation. So the real question is, how do we break free from this cycle? How do we regain control over our motivation? This is where the idea of a dopamine detox comes in. The concept is simple. Consciously step away from high dopamine activities so your brain can reset its sensitivity to dopamine. Some people go extreme with this, spending an entire day avoiding all dopamine-heavy stimuli. No internet, no technology, no fast food, no music. Nothing exciting. Sounds boring, right? That's exactly the point. When you take a break from overstimulation, your brain relearns how to enjoy simple things. It's like hitting the reset button on your dopamine system. Now, if you're dealing with a serious addiction to high dopamine activities, seeking professional help might be necessary. But if you just want to regain some balance and control, there's a more practical approach. Instead of a full dopamine detox, try small adjustments. For example, set aside one day a week with no social media. Avoid video games for a day. Resist checking emails first thing in the morning. These small changes give your brain a chance to recalibrate. Think back to those lab rats. They were so addicted to pressing the dopamine button that nothing else mattered. Aren't we doing something similar? Everything around us is designed to hijack our dopamine system, from notifications to endless content and instant gratification. So, how do we break free? The goal isn't to eliminate dopamine, but to use it wisely. Instead of letting dopamine control you, make it work for you. Here's how. Turn dopamine-heavy activities into rewards instead of distractions. For example, tell yourself, I won't watch my favorite show until I finish this report. After I complete today's study session, I'll check social media for 15 minutes. It's like giving yourself a dopamine bribe, but in a way that helps you get important things done. Now, why does the order matter? Why not enjoy the reward first? Because training your brain to expect delayed gratification is one of the most powerful success habits you can build. If you know a reward is coming, it's easier to push through difficult tasks. Over time, your brain will start associating effort with a positive outcome. This method makes even tough tasks feel less intimidating. So, how much work should you do before giving yourself a dopamine reward? One suggested approach is the dopamine ratio system. For every 1 hour of low dopamine work, studying, deep work, exercise, give yourself 15 minutes of a dopamine heavy activity, social media, video games, TV. Of course, this ratio isn't set in stone. Experiment and find what works best for you. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to deprive yourself of fun, it's to make intentional choices about your dopamine consumption. It all comes down to this. Are you using dopamine to reach your goals, or is dopamine using you? Are you in control, or are you just pressing a button like those lab rats? The good news? You have the power to take control. Now that you understand how dopamine works, it's time to make it work for you, not against you. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope this video made you better than yesterday. Ever feel like your